Well, folks, today we're going to talk about the perils of bread and the solution to bread. You never knew bread was much of a problem in your younger years, did you?
No, I ate all kinds of bread. I never thought about that thing being a problem.
Right. But for the diabetic, it is a problem. We'll talk about why in a little bit. But we're going to start by showing you why bread is so often used and useful and people love it so much. So we're going to do a little play acting. We're going to pretend we're back in my sweetie's homeland of Nigeria.
No.
And you are walking along the market, and I am the vendor. And I've got some things for sale. And you say, well, I wonder what he's got for sale. So you come up to me and you say, well, what do you have that I can eat? Go ahead, ask me that.
Hey, sweetie, whatever you're selling, I'm buying it.
Well, sweetie, considering we've never met each other according to this play, that's a little bit much. But I would be overwhelmed by having a beautiful lady come up and say that. But let me just go with this a little bit and say, well, ma'am, I have just come from America. I've discovered a marvelous meal they call the taco. Would you like to try a taco?
A taco? Yeah, I'd like to try it to see what it is.
Okay, well, first thing you have to do is put your hands together like this. Hold them kind of flat and hold them together.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, little flat. Yeah,
okay.
like that.
Like that.
And here is your taco coming up. We're going to start with some taco meat. And then we're going to have a little bit of lettuce on there. What do you think so far? Look pretty good?
Marvelous.
And then we are going to add to it this is shredded cheese, so a nice dose of shredded cheese. And last of all...
No.
We're going to try a little bit of picante sauce on your taco because what kind of a taco would it be?
Okay,
now,
okay.
Ma'am, that'll be 125 naira, please.
125 naira?
Yeah, for your taco.
Okay. Yeah. Do I have to finish eating because I'm going to use my hands to pay?
Well, what would you think if somebody on the streets of Nigeria served you that kind of a food?
Nobody in Nigeria serves like this. We don't even know what this is.
Now, in so many parts of this world, we have something we call the tortilla. The Indians might call it chapati or roti, but it is basically a very flat bread that we wrap things like that in. Nobody's going to serve that in their hands, are they?
Yeah, you just messed up my... I just
messed up your hands.
Yeah.
So we're making a point, and that is one of the uses of bread is simply to hold stuff in. And like we said, nobody would eat it that way. But when you put a tortilla first and then you fill up the tortilla with stuff like that, you've got a pretty nice meal, don't you?
Yeah, right. It's really, it looks good.
So my question is, are you going to hold that throughout this entire video?
Yeah,
or do you
my hands are achy right now. I'm looking for a place to dump it.
Go ahead, put it right here.
Okay.
And we're going to take a pause while Benedicta goes and cleans her hands, and then we'll be right back. So obviously, one of the roles that bread plays, particularly tortillas, is they hold things in them. But there is another part, and that is it's more filling when you have bread. Even with a sandwich, someone hands you a piece of bologna and a piece of cheese and a tomato, and that's your meal. It's not too filling.
No, it's not.
But if you put a bread on top and bread on the bottom, you've got more of a meal. You're going to get filled up. So the two major roles that bread plays oftentimes is that it holds your other stuff in it and it fills you up. Now, some breads are so good, they're tasty all by themselves. Now, a sandwich bread is not that great to me. I mean, if someone would just hand me a piece of sandwich bread and said, here, Dennis, here's your meal, I'd be, yuck, that's a meal. Or even a tortilla, they're not bad, but just by themselves, they just don't seem complete.
Yeah.
I will tell you the one bread that I could eat forever when I was young.
Okay.
That I needed nothing else. I didn't need meat. I didn't need cheese. I didn't need any kind of filling. The bread was enough. You know what that was?
No.
It was my mama's homemade bread.
Oh.
When she would make homemade bread in the oven,
Uh-huh.
just white homemade bread. Oh, I love that so much. And I could just eat it all day long. I'd put some soft butter on it and just enjoy it. But apart from that, most bread is not all that tasty.
Yeah.
But here's the problem for diabetics.
Did you get the recipe for the bread so that we can just modify it and do maybe a little bit low carb on them?
Afraid if we modified it too much, it wouldn't be the same. But no, I didn't get the recipe anyway.
Okay.
Let's do a little bit more role playing, then we'll get to the point of this video. Now you have come to my house and like a hospitable host. Okay. We're just friends. We're not husband and wife as we truly are. And I say to you, well, have you had anything to eat recently? And you say, no, not anything in a while. So I hand you a sugar bowl and say, well, enjoy some sugar. What would you think about that as a meal or a snack?
No, I kind of went through... I have visited a whole lot of people. Nobody gives anybody a bunch of sugar. Start shuffling it in.
Now, wait a minute. Are you telling me your entire life you've never been at someone's house where they offered you a bowl of sugar and you were just supposed to eat it?
No, you may be given tea.
Put a little sugar in it.
Put a little sugar in your tea. That is okay. But to give me a whole, bowl of sugar and start eating it, that is your food today. No, sir.
Now, there are some people, not so much in America, but in Africa, they will just enjoy a slice of bread as a snack. Would that be a more reasonable snack than a bowl of sugar?
This is your slice of bread.
Well, it's not much to brag about, but I figured since we were going to be handling it and using it as a demo, we could just toss it. But forget about that for right now.
Okay, if I come to your house and start serving me this way, I'll walk away.
Now, yeah, I know you would, but is that not an improvement over just pure sugar?
Yeah, this is a little better than, pure sugar.
Right.
No more sugar.
The point is this. For the diabetic, and really even for the non-diabetic, there's very little difference between bread and sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar is sugar, and it goes into your body as sugar. Bread is not sugar, but by the time it gets down into your stomach, it becomes sugar.
Okay.
So even though this looks different, feels different, tastes different, almost no difference between sugar and bread.
Okay.
And that's why it's a real problem for diabetics, pre-diabetics, or people that just don't want to ever be a diabetic.
Right.
You just can't eat bread the way you used to could when you were young. And, the sad thing, the tragedy is, many years ago, somebody that didn't have any sense came up with a food pyramid. And at the bottom was wide because it was a pyramid. The top was a point. So at the bottom, the category of foods that you were supposed to really pig out on and eat all the time was carbohydrates. And bread was right there with all of them. So in other words, eat all the bread you want, but don't eat very much meat. And, but yet it's just going to turn to sugar.
Yeah.
So that being said, one obvious answer is simply stop eating the bread. What you might want to do is go to a big city, get some kind of a little platform to stand on, which will lift you up above everybody else, and start shouting, "Stop eating your sugar!"
No.
Think that would work?
No.
Well, the sad truth is it doesn't work for many diabetics either when you just say don't eat it. Now, they ought not to eat it for sure. But here's the thing. Most of us would feel better if they had a substitute for bread. Something that looked kind of like bread, tasted kind of like bread, had a texture kind of like bread, but it was low carb instead of high carb. It didn't turn into sugar like regular bread would. If we could find something like that,
low carb
we'd be
bread,
doing a lot better.
Yeah, it would be better. Yeah,
so
I can go for that.
The good news is there are all kinds of low carb breads, the kind you can buy in the store and the kind you can make yourself. So one of the things that I often think about is the fact that our channel is being watched all over the world.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that maybe live in a village in Pakistan or India or Africa somewhere, and they can't get a lot of the ingredients that we can.
Right.
They can't order things on Amazon, and maybe in some cases they can get it, but it's too expensive, like almond flour. Some people say, I can't get it. Some people say, well, it just costs too much. It's not practical for me to use.
Yes.
Now, there is a tortilla you can make in a microwave, or you could you could actually cook it. It's good. It's made of almond flour and a couple of other ingredients. But I got to thinking, what is the simplest tortilla you could make that actually would not be hard to make, and you could probably get the ingredients? And I came up with the idea of a flaxseed tortilla. Flaxseed is available in a lot of places, a lot of countries. In fact, probably in almost every large city you can buy ground flaxseed. And the thing about flaxseed is it typically has the same amount of fiber as it has carbs.
Okay.
So in other words, it doesn't affect blood sugar at all, or at least theoretically it should not. So I thought, well, if you can at least get flaxseed, and it's also cheaper than almond flour, much cheaper.
Okay.
If you can get ground flaxseed, I experimented this afternoon. Now this one is made of nothing but flaxseed, an egg, and some a small amount of cream.
Yeah. Did you taste it like?
I did. You want to take a taste of it? See if you see what you think of it.
Not bad.
It's not bad. I think that's the perfect 2 words for it. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not as good as a store-bought tortilla, but it's not bad. Consider how much it'll save you in blood sugar spike. It's well worth it. And keep in mind, this is not the flavor you'll be getting if you put meat and cheese and pecani sauce and all that.
Yeah, right.
You won't notice this nearly so much.
Right.
And it's pretty flexible. So I was kind of surprised because I didn't use any psyllium husk, no xanthan gum, just flaxseed, 1 egg, a little bit of cream, put it in the microwave, bam, and it makes a tortilla. Okay. So for those of you that can at least get ground flaxseed and maybe a little bit of cream, you can have a tortilla. Now this one, I added 1 ingredient beyond what this one has. This one has the same. It has 3 tablespoons of flaxseed. It has 1.5 tablespoons of cream, heavy cream.
Okay.
And what was the other thing? Oh, 1 egg. Stir it all around, but I added some shredded cheese to kind of bind it together and make it a little stronger. If you look carefully, you can see some of the little white spots. That's the cheese where it kind of melted.
I can taste this one
You
too?
can taste that one. I can't tell much difference.
This is good. I mean, taste-wise, I think this is better.
Okay, it might be.
So you came up with this?
I did. I didn't. There's a lot of people have had these keto tortillas that they're putting on the internet, but no one I know has done it quite this way.
So we got a factory now?
So yeah, there you go. Right, Den and Ben. If you send $29.95 right now, we'll include with that offer a free timer. And if you send $39.95, Ben will give you a signed copy of your tortilla. She'll write Benedicta Pollock right on the back of it. We're teasing, of course.
We're playing.
All right. But number one, this you'd have to be almost very unusual. Let me just put it kindly.
Yeah.
If this jacked up your blood sugar. I mean, it's just flaxseed, a little bit of cream, and an egg.
Yeah.
And flaxseed, like I said, is so much fiber, it just should not raise blood sugar hardly at all. But the main reason I wanted to try these was to let people know that live maybe in Mexico or Africa or India or Pakistan or some nations where things are not common, or if you can get it at all, it's too expensive. There's a way for you. Where there's a will, there's a way. So flaxseed is your friend. You can use it for making bread. You can use it for making rolls. There's all kinds of things you can do, and it really helps. Now,
the color is not all that bright like other ones.
It's not white, but I mean, a lot of people, they like the brown color because it makes them feel like this has got to be healthier, and in this case, it really is.
Right.
So now there is a golden flaxseed that's even better.
Okay.
And it tastes better to me, and I think probably would to most. So that is another option, but I don't know that you could get that everywhere. The regular ground flaxseed you could. I think it is fair to say that there are billions of people in this world that live in a culture where some type of flatbread, call it a tortilla, call it roti, whatever you call it, some type of flatbread is almost a compulsory aspect of every meal. And those kind of people, to just say, give up your bread, it will work for desperate people. But there's a lot of people that are not quite desperate enough. They're semi-desperate. They really want to beat diabetes, but they're like, is there anything I can use as a flatbread or as a sandwich bread or some kind of bread? The answer is, yeah, there are all kinds of options. There are low-carb breads you can buy in the store. They're a little iffy and you have to experiment. We'll get back to you some more on that in another video. But for now, we're talking flatbreads. We're talking tortillas and roti. And I'm going to leave in the description. Now, you'll have to click on Show More. Those words are important. If you're new to YouTube, you don't realize that. You're saying, he's promising all these things in the description, and they're just not there. Yeah, they're there, but you got to click on Show More. Anyway, I will leave in the description a number of links to videos about how to make different types of flatbreads or tortillas. And you're bound to find something that you like. Even if it's not quite as good as what you're used to, if it's at least almost as good, somewhat good, it's better than nothing at all in many cases. If you're man enough or woman enough to just say, I'm done with bread, period, that's great, more power to you. But for most of us, we want a substitute of some kind or several different substitutes. So look in the description, check out some of these, and experiment. Do some things, try recipes, experiment with different foods you can make. If you say, I don't have a microwave, then do it in a pan. There's all kinds of ways. Be creative and be resourceful and do what you need to do. If you can just come up with, if you can just do two things, you're on your way to beating diabetes. And those two things are, number one, you cut out all sugar from your diet. And number two, you cut out bread from your diet and substitute some kind of a low-carb bread. If you can just do those two things, you're on your way. Now, there's other things to do, obviously, and I could talk all day about that. But for starters, give up all sugar and give up normal bread. And the only bread that will touch your lips will be low-carb bread of some kind. And you can find all kinds of recipes and ways to make low-carb bread. YouTube is bursting with them. YouTube is exploding with low-carb bread-type recipes, whether we're talking rolls or pancakes or flatbreads, tortillas, whatever. They're just all over YouTube. So to start with, you can go click on the Show More and go to the description and look at some of my links that I'll leave you that I would recommend. But you don't have to do that even. You can just go into the YouTube search box and type in low-carb bread, low-carb tortilla, low-carb roti, low-carb this, low-carb that, low-carb biscuits. I mean, it's everywhere. So don't be lazy, my friend. Find something that works for you. And once you get it, it's like, this baby is mine. I'll be eating this bread the rest of my life. And that's one of the joys of doing experiments with foods and recipes and finding things that work for you. When I find one, it's like I just found a treasure. I'll be eating this the rest of my days, however long the Lord gives me, I'll be eating this. And I'm still finding things like that. You can too, my friend. So be creative, be resourceful, do some research, and find some things that will work for you as you bring your glucose down, down, down into the normal range.
I want to encourage you to join Benedict and me in our home through our new podcast, Discover the Word with Den and Ben. While you drive in your car or while you walk or exercise at the gym, you can be learning the Bible through our low-key, user-friendly Bible studies. To get the information you need to listen to our Discover the Word with Den and Ben podcast, click on the link in the description.